Are you closer to art than to science in your process?
Probably science. I've always been like that, where I know other people that are much more like creative and more an artist, where I've always been more the technical guy, more the nuts and bolts, mathematics, you know, uh, try to make it work with all the wiring and electricity and connections and how it's going to come together in that respect, rather than being a creative person.
I like to think in terms of intervals and scale degrees. And so I'm almost thinking of math, like in music in terms of math, something called modular arithmetic. And so I'm thinking mod 7, because there's seven tones in a scale. Or sometimes I'm thinking mod 12 because of there's 12 chromatic tones. But I'll be thinking not, okay, I want to play perfect fourth, so I need to go from a C to an F. I'm just thinking I want to play a perfect fourth, and so I know how to make that happen. And then from there, I'll pivot and say, okay, from here I want to go to a minor third or something like that. So I'm usually thinking in terms of scale degrees or just intervals, and not so much the name of the note that I'm on.
So there is the time signature and the rhythm, which is basic math and fractions. There is, we go back to the Greeks and Pythagoras, and they defined what a scale is and the relationships between the different degrees of the scale. And we know that. That's the mechanics of it. It's physical. When I'm playing my instrument, there are physical waves coming out of the instrument. That's physics. It's reflecting off these different surfaces. That's the mechanics. That's the science behind it. Now the artistry is, what do you do with those notes? What do you do with those waveforms? What do you do with those rhythms? What do you do with that time? Because I'm doing it to get an emotional response from someone. But my French horn teacher always said, art dictates the craft. The bottom line is the art that I'm trying to communicate to my audience. What do I need to do to make that happen? Now I'm going to apply the science behind it to make that art a reality. So science is a tool for me. It's a tool. And the more I learn about science and the more experience I have, the more tools I can put in my tool bag. So if I have something break, I know how to fix it, or at least get it up and running.
It's not binary, ones and zeros, true or false. There's no right way to do art. There's no wrong way to do art. So like art has this life, it has this dynamicism. It goes through the same birth, life, death cycle that we do. It's our way of creating something. Like that's why humans create art. We're made in the image of our creator, and our creator created us, so we create something because that's what we're supposed to do. But when you reduce it to just, oh, it's just paint on a canvas. Oh, it's just screechy synthesizer noise and screaming. Oh, it's just wiggly air. Like you say something is just this. You're killing that idea, that concept. I think people do that because, one, they don't want to believe in magic. And by magic, I mean they don't want to believe that life can be exciting and there's unexpected unknowns. And there's things that we just don't understand, and it's okay that we don't understand it. They're the ones that, like Toto in The Wizard of Oz, pulling down the curtain, you see the man behind the curtain, and the Wizard of Oz is really just an old balding man with a microphone and a giant hologram. But it was a lot more fun when you thought it really was a crazy space wizard.
But if it doesn't sound good, it doesn't sound good. I mean, I don't know if music is for, who music is meant for. Is it meant for the end user, the listener, or is it meant for the musician? I heard an interesting quote the other day from Wynton Marsalis. Somebody asked him essentially that question, and instantly Wynton said, well, it's for the listener, but the player is the first listener. I was like, oh, okay. I was like, all right, that kind of sat well with me.